I'm gonna throw a curveball. Hori doesn't even know this is coming.
Pause,
Rough
John.
guess based on the last time I looked at our analytics, like 88% of people aren't subscribed. We are YouTubers. This is a thing we must do now, apparently.
YouTube tells me that 88% of you aren't subscribed to this video, so hit the subscribe button and smash the like button.
Absolutely obliterate the like button. Anyway, now Hori, how's your week?
Full of NDAs. Full of work I
Really?
can't talk about to anyone.
Oh, yeah, busy week.
Just one big project and like that has been gifted to me in a way. I got the option. I got first dibs on it. So
Now, obviously, I'm not going to put you in a position where you have to say yes or no here. I'm just going to spitball because I'm a very intelligent person. If there's NDAs involved, bearing in mind, I don't recall you really ever saying you had to sign an NDA for anything else you've worked on.
I have.
I can
well,
only assume this is like an outside partnership thing.
Well, technically, I signed an NDA when I joined the KCP.
Yeah, but signing additional ones would make me think that.
Well, it's not necessarily. Okay, so I didn't have to sign an additional one. It's more. This is very much under the NDA, even to the point of I can't tell other people. There's like 3 of us. Well,
Hori is now working for KCP's Secret Services.
The esports SAS. But a big project that I don't know when. I have no idea when it'll come to light. Like, yeah, or whatever. But I started that this week and a couple of other smaller projects helping and stuff. So busy work week. Chill week though, because I've had the house to myself. Parents have been away.
Ooh. So like your parents are away like every other week. I don't know why. I imagine you'd be like one of the adopted children, like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, just like they love you and like it's great when they're about, and then they'll just disappear off because you know they're mega famous. And you're just like, oh, okay, cool. Type.
It's more that both my parents are retired, so it's like they'll go see my sisters on weekends. But yeah, this is the first time they've gone away for like a week for a while, and I think it's safe to say I haven't eaten as good as normal.
It's always going to happen. It's because there's a break in the routine.
Well, it's more, I'm like, I forget. And this is, I'm pretty sure, linked with the ADHD brain or whatever. But it's like, I'll forget. Right. And then, like, one of you lot would message, oh, any gamers tonight, like 7:45. And I'm like, well, haven't got time to make food now. Have a snack, I'll eat later.
Yeah, no, it's the exact same. If it wasn't for Jenna, there would have been so many entire weekends where I've gone without eating. Because, like, and I don't think people get this. Let's just be clear. Both me and Hori are undiagnosed, but I don't think it would take a genius spending some time with us to realise we should be diagnosed.
Yeah.
But as a result of that, because I've done a lot of research into it, as I know Hori has as well, it's very easy when we get sucked in something and hyperfixate for time blindness. And your body just, because your entire essence focuses on it, your stomach doesn't remind you you're hungry. And even then, the drive to get back to do what you're doing is sometimes greater than your desire to eat.
Well, it's like for me, it's like I'll finish doing something and I'm like, oh shit, it's like the message will pop up and take me out and it's like 7:45 and I'm like, oh wait, I'm hungry as fuck. But then it's like, I'm hungry. I'm so hungry that I'm like, I can't be waiting around cooking for the food to cook. I just want something to eat now. So
it is a rough one.
Yeah, that's been my week. How's your week been?
My week's actually been quite good. There was a project in the office this week. So as part of my job, I do what's called a pre-build, where we get equipment ready for a site. And we had one of them in this week, and it actually was supposed to be finishing, I guess, tomorrow technically. Like the last day of like wrapping up and getting it ready to ship out was supposed to be tomorrow, but we got that done by like midday today. So I was able to get a little bit ahead on other bits of work, which was nice.
I always love that.
And also, I mean, you can see it right there.
Oh.
I ordered a new comic that arrived this week. and it's so thick you could tell, like, from this distance that it's one massive comic. So that's part 1 of 3 of the Invincible collection. So as a result, I obviously started rewatching it on Amazon Prime again before even opening the comic, because I've still got a massive backlog up there to read. But it was a really good price, so I was like, I have to get it.
Couldn't resist.
Exactly. Put it this way: I've spoken about the sizes before, and I've said previously the biggest size is an omnibus. This fucker's so big they call it a compendium.
I love that.
They came up with a whole new fucking word. It was that massive.
Well, compendiums for like fucking literature.
I'll put it this way: they did 144 issues of Invincible. That's all that's been done. That's all that will be done.
Okay.
Each of their issues were like quite big for a comic book anyway. And that is 1 of 3 compendiums. So there's 2 more books that same size.
Are you sure that shouldn't be on the bottom shelf?
I shit you not. Before I go to bed, when I get up in the morning, when I get home from work, I check to make sure the shelf isn't sagging any more than it was before. Because I'm a little bit nervous about how hench it is.
I'll look forward to 1 week where we do an episode and there's just no top shelf anymore.
It's fine because your brain won't even think to mention it.
Probably.
Yeah, other than that, my week's been pretty chill. It was my mum's birthday on Saturday, so tomorrow, as you guys are watching this, and we've got a party going on, which will be very nice, very good, very nice. And then obviously next week's like a 3-day week for people in normal jobs.
Well, you say us, so I was talking to my grandma the other day, and she mentioned it, and I was like, I keep forgetting because obviously, because I work for KCP, America doesn't care about a jubilee.
Don't give a single fuck.
They probably don't even know it's a thing. So I just don't.
They've got a big holiday. They've got Memorial Day weekend this weekend, haven't they?
Have they?
This weekend coming.
I don't pay attention to national holidays anywhere in the world.
I mean, I do when it directly affects me. That's about it. But yeah, so that would be nice. Awesome. While we don't have anything actually brand new to talk about this week, there's still a lot to talk about, which is actually kind of...
This is becoming the standard, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't need shows to have enough to talk about.
Yeah, but it's nice. I think this has got quite a diverse subject pool here. So I think, as you guys know, one of my things that I like to do is we do our character profiles. And with She-Hulk having its trailer just gone, and being the only show that we haven't really gone into a lot of depth about because we hadn't really had any proper looks at it, I thought now would be a good time to do a character profile on She-Hulk. So, here we go. Jennifer Walters is She-Hulk. She's a talented lawyer, like insanely talented lawyer, better than Matt Murdock as a lawyer, and cousin of Bruce Banner. As a result of one of her cases where she was helping her client who essentially was being a snitch against the mob, she was like helping get them protected to bring the mob down, she got shot.
Okay.
She needed a blood transfusion to survive, and for some reason, I don't know how, I couldn't seem to work this out, they decided Bruce had to be the one to give her the blood transfusion.
Usually that's because of blood type.
Yeah, but I mean, unless Marvel Comics, which I'm not saying they don't have, like, even more blood types, I mean, they probably had some there. Anyway.
That, or it was so serious they needed Hulk's blood. Oh.
So yeah, Bruce had to give his blood for her to survive. This blood transfusion resulted in her going through a similar change and becoming She-Hulk. Here's the interesting thing. Originally, she also struggled to control the transformations like Bruce does. And she would Hulk out. But pretty quickly, she found, like, control over it. And she was able to almost switch at will. And has, like, don't get me wrong, obviously there are times she loses control, but for the most part, she's in complete control. Which I think is kind of a testament to how, like, level-headed she is. But it also allows her to be kind of while being directly linked to the Hulk, very different.
Hmm.
It enables her to be very caring and compassionate and funny while fighting the bad. She gets to make little quips like other heroes would that you don't normally get to see from the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was very well done and a good decision to allow her to have control over that ability.
Mm-hmm.
I also
Agree.
think it's a little bit of a nod to the idea that women are in better control of their emotions than men.
Probably right.
Yeah. So as a result of her having control over this transformation, like I said, she was able to retain her intelligence, her humor, and her kind spirit while still being absolutely jacked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as well as that, as she's become a hero in her own right, she's worked with the Avengers and other groups. She was also trained by Gamora
Mm.
to the extent of making her an expert in hand-to-hand combat.
Fair.
Yeah, so she's like a threat.
Yeah.
Her raw power isn't as much as the Hulk, and she doesn't seem to have the effect that the Hulk has, where in some continuities, the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets with no upper
Mm-hmm.
limit. So her raw power isn't as much, but the fact that she can think while fighting and is able to be trained
Mm.
makes her just as dangerous, or not just as dangerous, but still very dangerous in
Yeah.
slightly different ways. Um, and the really interesting thing is, despite working as a superhero, she still works as a lawyer. She fights crimes on both sides. She goes out there and she helps people, and then she comes back and she helps people. She does it all.
Respectable.
And I think a big thing is, which doesn't get discussed as much in Marvel as it does in DC, a lot of heroes just kind of kill in Marvel without it really being thought about too much, other than people like Spider Man.
Mm-hmm.
She-Hulk takes every possible opportunity to not kill.
Okay.
She will do whatever it takes to not kill someone. Because she has such a moral rigidness. She does whatever it takes. I'm sure she has killed before, but she does whatever she can to not kill.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I've said it before, but I'm bringing it up again. She does in her comics regularly break the fourth wall, and she was doing it in Marvel comics before Deadpool was. So this is a pre-warning. If during the Marvel show she breaks the fourth wall, and one of you guys think it's going to be a good idea to go, oh, they have to give everyone a Deadpool quirk now, I will light you on fire on Twitter. Do not be a dumbass.
You know there's going to be someone that says, oh, they've just copied the Deadpool thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They're doing it with all characters who are a little bit quirky now. Like with Mr. Knight, who was nothing like Deadpool. They were like, oh, just white Deadpool, innit? It's like, no, it isn't. Like, just engage brain for a third of a second.
Or, counter argument, just ignore them.
No. Heaven forbid, it's the internet. I must argue with everyone until I'm proven right.
Fuck's sake.
I think She-Hulk, and don't get me wrong, let's just be perfectly clear about this opinion. This is coming from a straight, white, cisgendered man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? So this isn't a fact, this is just my opinion. If I'm wrong, please tell me. I get the impression that She-Hulk is actually quite a well-written female character. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure in the earlier days, they had some missteps. Yeah. For instance, a particular story involving Star Fox, which I'm not going to talk about because it's fucking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And be careful searching it because there are some triggers in there. But for the most part, especially more recently, it seems like they actually do a pretty good job of telling stories that are relevant to female readers and make them feel included in the comic space, which I think is fucking important. And I really hope the show manages to do that as well.
I imagine it will. They've done... I feel like with all of their shows, and the easiest one to think of is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like they do a good job of touching on the relevant issues to those characters. So I would imagine that like they do She-Hulk justice, and the show will be good in that sense.
I hope so. I really do. But that's all we've got to say on She-Hulk. I, for one, I'm very excited for this show.
Me too.
I enjoy now that we've kind of got to the heights of Endgame. Everyone was a little bit worried that we were just going to have more and more fantastical stories and we're going to lose them kind of grassroots stories.
Mm.
But the shows like Moon Knight and She-Hulk and Miss Marvel are going to really give us a distinction between the big stuff, which is what's going to happen in the films, and then the street level heroes who protect the little guy. And I'm really glad, A, that they made that decision, and B, that they've done such a good job so far.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, they're nailing it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that brings us on to the second Thor trailer.
Yes.
First of all, I am furious that they censored Chris Hemsworth's butt.
Do you know why?
I feel like I've been robbed.
Do you know? I know why they did that. Actually, I think if you actually watch
for advertisement.
At the end of the trailer, it says "not yet rated," so because it hasn't been rated, they can't show anything like that because
Give
it
us a
instantly.
red trailer.
Well, yeah,
I want Chris Hemsworth being.
Someone please take that out of context.
Yeah,
I think
there's no way you can take that out of context.
Yeah, you can.
No, that's a valid comment no matter what context you try and put it in.
But yeah, they should do like a red. They could have done a red band, I suppose. But yeah, I think even I saw that and I was like, oh, they blurred it. What the hell? And then it was like not yet rated. I was like, oh yeah, I suppose they'd have to rate the trailer R if they did that.
It just felt really weird seeing something blurred in an officially released trailer.
Like properly pixelated as well.
Yeah, it just felt weird. Either don't show that particular shot or just bite the bullet and don't blur it. It just felt a bit weird.
I wonder if it'll affect the rating of the film if Probably they do want to show it.
I mean, we saw Hulk's arse in
Thor
Ragnarok.
True. Thor saw more than just.
And then in two parts of the trailer, we kind of get like top-down shots of Thor and then Korg, and then loads of space over here on the screen. So a character is being hidden. The most logical assumption that I've seen is that it's Beta Ray Bill.
Okay.
Who, in the comics, wields Stormbreaker.
Right.
And is very similar to Thor. So people are thinking we might see a team up of Beta Ray Bill, Mighty Thor, which is Jane Foster, and Chris Hemsworth. In the trailer, we get even more shots of Jane Foster.
Yep.
But in every single shot, she's still in Thor form, which makes people think they are at least partially following through with the cancer part of the storyline, or at least seriously ill.
Yeah.
And we got a first look at Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah, look dope.
So, I mean, I know you weren't super aware of him. Are you aware that in the comics he has like tentacles and stuff?
Yeah, I've seen those pictures.
Okay, so I'm just going to complain about the Marvel fandom again, because despite being a part of it, I hate them all. Put it this way, I am worried that the Marvel fandom is starting to become a little bit too much like the Star Wars fandom, who are too busy complaining about every little thing they dislike to just enjoy what they do like about it. And they were like we've said with like the last 4 things we've discussed, like Marvel, everyone loves to complain about the CGI not being perfect for every single frame, and then at the same time they're going, "Oh my god, I can't believe Christian Bale's just got white paint on. Why haven't they CGI'd on, like, got rid of his nose and put tentacles on him?" It's like, what? So you can just sit there and bitch and moan about the CGI? It's like, what do you want? Like, honestly, what do they want?
You know what the thing is as
he
well?
He looks intimidating and scary. Yes, would it have been nice for the tentacles? Maybe. But the mock-ups people have done based on the photos we've had look shit!
Do you know what it could be? Because I can't in my head at the moment picture what the tentacles.
So it's kind of like, think of like dreadlocks almost, but like they're white tentacles. Like,
So, okay, yeah. So there's a shot of Christian Bale in that trailer, and he has scars. What if he's had his tentacles cut off?
That's like any reason, and they could have just gone, okay, actually, we'll just go redesign the character a little bit, like they've done with loads of fucking characters.
Also, I think if they'd done no nose on him,
it would have looked weird.
Well, it not necessarily look weird. The same Marvel fans that are complaining would have gone, "Oh, he just looks like Voldemort."
Yeah, exactly. And this is why I'm genuinely scared that Marvel fans are becoming toxic like Star Wars fans, in the sense of they would rather nitpick one frame for the rest of eternity than talk about the film as a whole and what they liked about it. And I just don't want
As soon as
the Marvel fandom to go that way.
I've said this about Star Wars, but as soon as you're a fan and you start doing that, you're no longer a fan.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just a toxic viewer.
If you can't look at something, enjoy it, but still criticize parts of it, what's the point? You shouldn't just look at it and go, it's perfect no matter what, and you shouldn't look at it and go, it's shit no matter what, but I'm still going to claim I'm a fan. Like, but anyway, I think the Thor trailer looked fucking great.
I thought it looked amazing.
There was, I know I've just moaned about people moaning about CGI, but I've said before, my rule with CGI is if I notice it without it being a still, I think it needs to be worked on. There's one bit in the trailer where you see Thor's like new helmet.
The
CGI looked wonky on it. Like instantly, as I'm watching the trailer, I saw it and I was like, "Ooh, something wasn't right there." Don't get me wrong, I'm sure it will get fixed before the film's out. But
it could. Oh, I don't know exactly which bit you're on about because I didn't notice it. The only thing I noticed
was like hovering over his head instead of actually sitting on his head.
Okay, I agree. You.
It was a bit weird, but like I said,
could also be just the fact that
fix it.
A design. We're not used to this new like helmet and armor design that he's wearing.
That might have been part of it. That might have been what brought extra attention to it for me.
But yeah, I think overall it was good.
Yeah, I think we got some interesting information out of it.
Yeah, I also loved the one bit in it that I really liked was how Jane used Mjolnir.
Oh yeah,
because it's all broken. Fragments. Yeah, it just like breaks back into its fragments. That's like such a clever way to take the state of the hammer and like actually play it into how it's used.
Yeah, 100%. It's still broken. It's her wielding it and pulling it back together that gives it its hammer shape. So when she throws it out in that dart form. It's just so cool. I like her helmet. I like it all. It's literally, I'm so excited for this film.
I wonder, do you think maybe in a post-credit scene we'll see Loki turn up?
So I've seen people talk about this. When Chris gets stripped off, whoop whoop, you see a tattoo on his back that is Loki's helmet with the words "Rip Loki" over the top of it.
Yeah.
If Loki turns up and Thor's got that tattoo on his back, Thor has every right to kill him. I don't think so. I think the next time we see Thor and Loki together will be in Loki season 2. And I don't think that will be our Thor, per se.
Okay. I wondered with it may be a post-credit scene, and maybe it wouldn't necessarily be Loki and Thor seeing each other. It could be like a post-credit scene of Loki steps out of a TVA portal somewhere we've seen in the film, so you know that he's stepped into that same universe or something.
Quite possible. It's very, very possible.
But that was just overall the trailer looked dope. I also loved the thing of Korg commentating over narrating the beginning, and he's like, went from dad bod to god bod.
But this brings me on to our next point. He was talking about Thor in the past tense at that point. So a lot of people are worried that Thor's going to die in this film. It's his 4th film. He's the only one of the big 3 still alive, or not alive, still active. And a lot of Phase 4 has been setting up legacy characters.
Mm.
This, you could say that this one with Jane Foster as Thor and Valkyrie is setting him up to get the chop.
So this new trailer didn't show any of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm wondering if he's speaking in past tense when he's narrating, because at the end of it all, Jane stays as Lady Thor, and then Thor, like we talked in the past, becomes Odin's son, and maybe he's talking in past tense because he's no longer Thor and he's going off with the Guardians and he's stepping away from all that, stepping away from being a god.
I definitely think we're getting a either a large change to Thor as a character, or he's retiring, dying, moving on.
Maybe he gets TVA'd.
Maybe.
And him and Loki team up in season 2.
Turn season 2 into a buddy cop film with
brother buddy cop.
I'd be down. I'd be so fucking down. What do you think of the way they're portraying Zeus?
It's hard to like get because I don't know much about how Zeus is personality-wise in Marvel, but it's like I get the sense that he didn't trust, from the trailer, you get the sense that he didn't trust that Thor was actually Thor. And I wonder if it's something to do with like the fact that he knows about Gorr the God Butcher, so he's not trusting anyone anymore.
So a few people seem to be a little bit annoyed that Zeus isn't like mega ripped.
Oh, that doesn't bother me.
I'm of the opinion Zeus is a Greek god who likes to drink and sleep with mortal women and be a bit of a big baby. I think Russell Crowe being not massively fat, but like just a little bit larger with not a fuck ton of definition works.
Do you know what it is? Because of Chris Hemsworth being absolutely jacked,
everyone looks tiny in comparison.
Well, also everyone, for the Marvel universe at least, he was the first god that we were introduced to. So everyone immediately has this like visual image that gods are all going to be ripped like they are in the statues in Athens and stuff. But it's like, by like real life lore and like mythology about like the Thor in Viking terms, he was more of like a body, like if you think like strongman size, where they are jacked, big, but they have belly, like they have no that definition. Like they just don't have the like 0% fucking body fat. Like
exactly.
More gods are actually like, when you read stories about the Greek gods and stuff, they are actually more like bodybuilder sizes. So I think you'll find that this Zeus, like in these shots, looks a bit more plump, but I bet you'll find out that like he's just jacked bodybuilder shape. So like, he's a bit more plump, but he's just like, he's just bulked. And doesn't bother me.
I mean, it doesn't bother me either way, but people, like I said, people just like to nitpick on the weirdest things. I've got a feeling Christian Bale could be about to put in a performance that, if it wasn't for a superhero film, everyone would be saying deserves an Oscar. I don't know why. I feel like Gorr the God Butcher is quite a deep character. Christian Bale being such a talented actor, who is such a good character actor as well, I think could really, really give us something special.
And like every character he's played in, like he always goes like 110% into getting into that character. So like he's gonna be like locked in as Gorr the God Butcher.
Yeah. I'm really, really excited for this film. I've been waiting for the post-Endgame slump of I'm not excited for this next film. It's not hit yet. Up until trailer 1 came out, I was starting to be a bit about that for Thor. I was like, we're not really seeing anything. Marvel are due a really bad one. Maybe this is going to be it. But then the trailers came out, and the vibe of it seemed so good, and now I'm back to being excited.
I actually genuinely think it'll be hard for Marvel to have a bad film now, because those stories that we attribute, or the Marvel films that we have lower in our lists, are those kind of filler stories that they are now sort of doing with the TV shows. Yeah. Where they fill points in the story. And it's like they did them as films because they needed to get that information in there, and they were like, it's not the best film, but it fills the gap in the storyline. That's just going to be the Disney Plus shows now. So we might get the odd like show that feels a bit, this is just filling a gap. But I don't think we'll actually get many films like that now.
Yeah, I guess you could say that Falcon and the Winter Soldier just kind of filled a gap, but it did it in a really good way. So maybe that kind of filler stuff being turned into a TV show allows it to be a bit better, but also not to get in the way of the films. Maybe you're right. Speaking of filler content and good stuff after good stuff, we are eating good this summer.
We are indeed.
So, June 3rd, the first 3 episodes of The Boys Season 3 drops. June 8th, first episode of Miss Marvel drops. June 22nd, Umbrella Academy Season 3. Then July 8th, that's a big old gap in this list. July 8th, Thor Love and Thunder. July 29th, DC League of Super Pets. And then August 17th, episode 1 of She-Hulk.
There's a lot.
How am I supposed to catch up on my comic book reading and stream and go to work?
And halfway through that, at the end of June, there's going to be an episode where I have to miss.
What do you mean episode you're going to have to miss?
Well, I'm like away for like a week. So we've talked about this, and this is like sidetracking, but there's the Rocket League thing at the end of June.
Yeah.
There's like a week there where I'm like away from my PC.
I mean, you're going to be in London, though.
True. I just won't be able to edit or anything.
IRL podcast.
Are you editing it? Because I won't be able...
We'll just throw a fucking raw one up. It'll be lit.
But yeah, there's a lot coming, and that list doesn't even mention anything Star Wars related.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly don't know. Something on that list is probably going to slip by.
I probably won't watch Umbrella Academy.
You're going to catch up on The Boys and watch The Boys?
Well, you all keep pestering me, so The Boys is more likely to get caught up and watched on than Umbrella Academy, because I don't really... Do you know what's also not on this list that comes out tomorrow? Stranger Things.
I mean, I've never watched Stranger Things.
What?
You haven't watched The Boys and you're doing a Superhero podcast. You don't get to share
I don't care. Stranger Things is pop culture.
I've just never got around to watching it. The problem is Jenna doesn't like anything remotely scary.
Ah.
So,
yeah. this season's going to be creepy.
So, like, I almost need to, like, lock her in and get her to, like, sign a contract and, like, I will watch this entire show with Conor.
All the lights on.
But yeah, so that's like just a part of it. It's like, they're 40-minute long episodes anyway, apart from this season, which
I was going to say
it's just like 7 movies. You got like quite long episodes anyway. Not a lot of time in between everything else I've done, and any time that would be able to use to be watched that would be me and Jenna watching TV together, and she doesn't like that kind of horror stuff. I'm just kind of like,
I'm gonna say it now because I know myself well enough. I will have watched the whole season of Stranger Things by next episode.
Right now, I'll be honest with you. I'm glad that all the streaming services drop their content in different ways.
Yes.
Because you've got The Boys, you've got Amazon Prime, which gives you like half the season up front and then weekly.
Okay.
Which means it doesn't run for as long.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got Disney Plus shows, which is every week, which is good. And then you've got Netflix, which is like, here!
Season.
Yeah.
Which is great for me, but I get nothing done.
I'm assuming is a Friday.
June 22nd. Umbrella Academy.
Oh, it's a Wednesday! Ref! So on that Friday, that weekend, I will binge watch that entire season.
Yeah, see, that's going to be me this weekend with Stranger Things.
But yeah, so like we've got so much to go. So The Boys season 3, if you have watched The Boys, I mean, you're probably just as excited as me. We've got a new kind of arc for Billy. We've got Homelander trying to regain after the shit show that was last season for him. And a lot of stuff got left up in the air. Then we've got Miss Marvel, which is a really exciting character who's we don't know a lot about what story they're going to tell for her yet, which means I get to just sit there and let it unfold in front of me, which is really exciting. Umbrella Academy season 3 again. Season 2 got left on the most ridiculous cliffhanger, and I cannot wait to see where that goes from there. And then after we get over a binge of TV for like a month straight, we're straight into Thor: Love and Thunder, which is going to be a banging film. Then straight after that, we get a little palate cleanser with the film designed for children that I'm going to be the first in line to watch with the DC League of Super Pets, which I've got a feeling is actually going to be quite fucking good. And then we're back to TV shows with She-Hulk. Like, you literally, it's a... I am confident that all 6 of these products are going to be good. But even if only 4 out of the 6 are good, that's still a fucking really good summer of superhero content.
Well, this whole year's been like...
Yeah.
Great for the nerds. Let's be honest.
Imagine if DC wouldn't have robbed us of 2 more films that are going to be mid as fuck anyway.
At least,
sorry, that was so unnecessarily angry.
At least we got the Batman. At least that'll keep us going for a couple of years. Like,
nom 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 nom.
Thank God we got something good.
Talking of mid DC related films, that as far as I'm aware, Ezra Miller hasn't like murdered or done anything this week. He's stayed pretty quiet this week.
Well, he's probably still. Is he not still in a cell or something?
He's letting Mrs. Aquaman take the flak this week.
Absolute shambles.
Don't even. But yeah, DC needs to get the house in order, and I hope they do because they've got great characters. But until they do, I'm going to meme the fuck out of them.
Yep.
So yeah, so like I said, loads for us to watch and enjoy this summer. Loads for us to then talk about as a result of that this summer.
Yeah, and don't worry. Although Connor's not mentioned Star Wars, I will drop the odd update on Star Wars because I'll be watching it. Starting with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I'm so ready. When does that start?
Tomorrow.
Is that tomorrow?
So they drop 2 episodes tomorrow, and then it's weekly. And then
is it going to be on Wednesdays or Fridays?
I think it's Wednesdays.
But so I don't like a half week to start.
Well, the reason they're doing it tomorrow is because it's the 25th anniversary or something. Okay. It's like an anniversary day for Star Wars.
That makes sense.
But yeah, that starts tomorrow. That's going to be great. We've had our first trailer for Andor, which I'm guessing you haven't seen the trailer, Connor.
No, I did. I watched it.
Do you realize where it's set in the timeline?
It's set just for Rogue One, no?
Yeah.
And let's just be completely fucking clear here. If we're going to start talking about Star Wars on here, Rogue One is the best Star Wars film. It is not up for fucking discussion.
Rogue One is incredible.
It's miles above everything else. Yes, I understand the nostalgia towards the original trilogy, and they are masterpieces. Objectively, no, is it objectively or subjectively? Where you take away like opinion and just go based on facts. I think it's objectively.
Yeah, objectively, I think.
Objectively, Rogue One is the best film. And it's not close if you look at it objectively.
Rogue One, and I think a lot of stuff, like the majority of Star Wars fans agree that Rogue One is one of the best, like if not the best. So
and
it's like,
also, can we pay some respect to Rogue One for one reason and one reason alone? It manages to fix one of cinema's biggest plot holes.
Well, that's why it actually was such a good film. And this is a complete tangent now, but the reason
tangent if we want
exactly the reason that Rogue One has worked so well as a film is because going into it, you know that you don't know how, but you know there is an end point, and you know that there's a solid end point, and you know that they have to tie the story up to that point. So there's no way that they can like leave something hanging or whatnot. And they've got like a pretty solid guideline of what needs to happen in the film. And because of that, they they haven't got the issue which Star Wars I feel sometimes has, which is because the universe is so expanse and there's so many stories they can tell.
They try and tell them all at the same time.
Yeah, or they try to slip in lots of different little like Easter eggs or whatnot, and it kind of like opens like these threads and it gets a bit too much going on.
Yeah.
Rogue One was very set in its path and it worked perfectly. And it filled a huge gap in the story that was kind of needed, or not necessarily needed, but wanted.
Because they knew it was a prequel set just before A New Hope. They were like, okay, we have to have an explanation for why none of these characters appeared during the during the original trilogy. So they were just like, oh, we'll just kill them all. And somehow, while watching the film, at no point do you go, oh, they're all going to die.
Yeah.
At no point do you sit there and go, well, I mean, they're all going to die because we haven't seen them.
That's the thing. It's like, you watch it knowing that, right, this is going to end tying into the original film. Yeah. And the original film starts with R2-D2 has the plans. And you're like, watching the film, you're like, oh, okay, you can see where it's going, completely oblivious to the fact that, hang on a second, none of these characters exist in the trilogy. And it's like, either they're going to come up with some creative way as to where they go, or, like, who knows? And then it's like, as you're getting close to the end, you're like, oh no. This is just like...
There is that moment where you sit there, you're like, oh shit, they're all just going to die.
Yeah, you're like, oh... The realization, you're like, this is actually the only way. This is the only thing that makes sense.
And also a phenomenal cast who all act beautifully throughout the entire film.
And so to get Andor, which I think is set.
It's got to be set before because the main.
No, it is set. It is set before. I read how long, and I can't remember if it's.
Is the guy playing the main character going to keep on doing more films, just slowly moving back?
Liz, I think I could be totally wrong here, but I feel like I read that it's like 5 years before.
That's a good amount of time.
It might be even less than that.
What year did Rogue One come out in? Because this actor's going to be a lot fucking older now. 2016, so 6 years ago, Rogue One came out.
So they're rewinding 5 years.
Effectively 11 years older than he should be.
Okay.
That is a slight issue.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, in the trailer, he didn't look massively older, so he might be one of these guys who's lucky in like...
Yeah, good genes, really like a lot of celebrities.
Like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I know it's Ewan McGregor, he's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Fucking fight me. Yeah, Ewan McGregor's another guy who's gifted with good luck.
Good genes.
So everyone's like, oh, how rough was the beginning of the Empire if Obi-Wan Kenobi goes from Ewan McGregor to Alec Guinness? But they're like 3 years apart in age right now. Like, Ewan McGregor is 3 years younger now than Sir Alex was when he did A New Hope. So actually, the ages do line up. They're just very different people.
Yeah, he just doesn't visually look the same age.
Exactly.
But yeah, I've just checked that. It's set 5 years before Rogue One. So, like, something I'm also wondering if we might get is whether we get any of the characters from the prequels.
Ooh, maybe.
Like, there's that chance that there is, because this is...
We have much history of Andor.
So, I can't remember. From what I understand of the stories is, like, it's setting up that initial rebellion.
Do you reckon we're going to see another young CGI Carrie Fisher? I'll cry. I'll fucking cry. I'll bawl like a baby.
I don't know. Potentially.
They better not. I don't want to be crying watching Star Wars in my bedroom.
Because this is going to be... There's got to be some crossover between, like, the Obi-Wan series and this Andor series, timeline-wise. So...
I mean, they're happening on different planets around the same time. Doesn't mean there has to be crossover.
Oh, no, I mean like timeline-wise. So, Obi-Wan might not cross over, but the fact that there's the Inquisitors and stuff, all that side of things might show in, which gets interesting.
Okay, I'm gonna be humble for a minute.
Okay.
So you know how I've always said like I could help Marvel or DC like keep their stories straight and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I am not good enough to keep Star Wars story straight. That'd be too much for me.
Even Star
I'd
Wars
have
isn't.
I'd have like 4 massive boards pinning stuff together, and I'd be like, I don't know how to do. And it's just one of the things that needs a team of 10 like NASA brainiacs to even come close
That's why
to being able to keep it making sense.
they have the Skywalker Ranch, don't they, where they do all the like planning and everything. Yeah, it's definitely it's been wild for Star Wars because they've had all these stories that have kind of been in the same span of a story in a way, but there's like so many spots of the timeline. And it's actually Disney Plus is tying all of it together, which I love.
Yeah.
The fact that we're getting this opportunity now through Disney Plus with these shows is like it's tying all the storyline together and filling these gaps where it needs it. And I also like the fact that they've now said they are fully done with the Skywalker arc and the next set of films.
I'm never going to trust them. I'm never going to
Well,
trust them.
they've said the next films they're doing are going to be a completely different story.
I mean, like, I get that, but I'm just waiting for at some point Mark Hamill to turn up.
Oh no, I don't. He won't show up. The only time he's going to be used now is when he's doing like the Mandalorian and stuff, because he is there on set, playing as him, and they just CGI replace. Anyway,
now let's get remotely back on target.
Yeah, back to our usual programming.
Regularly scheduled programming. So certain content creators, not the good ones like me and you, Hori, other ones, get early access to Disney Plus shows. And they might get the first episode for Moon Knight. I think they got the first 4 episodes, which is where obviously it makes a massive right-hand turn. So it looks like people have been given the first episode of Miss Marvel.
Jealous.
And based on what I'm seeing, the early access reviews of it seem very positive.
Which is good.
The one comment that I saw that really stuck with me was it's the first time I felt a comic book come off the pages.
Okay.
Now, me personally, I felt that before. But the fact that this person has said that, and like that's a big thing to say on the internet openly. The fact that they've said that makes me pretty confident that the colours are going to be nice and vibrant, the comedy is going to be on point, and the story is going to be well told. Obviously, it looks like they've only had the first episode, so it all could go very wrong after that initial setup. Like, we do have to always be very aware of that possibility. But it's very rare that I see people so positive about the first episode and the show overall ends up being bad.
And I mean, given the track record so far, Marvel's not had something like that happen. So
yeah, I mean, I've said it plenty of times. Marvel get more leeway because they don't screw me over again and again and again. DC get very little leeway because they screw me over again and again and again.
But you still keep going back.
Of course, I keep going. What if the next one's good, Hori? What if it's good? What if the next Batman doesn't have bat nipples?
The problem is like DC's so bad, and then they give us the Batman, and we're like, oh yes, this is the DC, and maybe we'll get more of this.
Yeah.
Well,
my name's Connor, and I'm a superhero addict.
I'm glad that it's getting positive, like early reviews, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's always what we want to see. And never know, it might just be a show that me and you were like, not particularly for me, but I can tell it's well done, which is fine. But as long as it is well done, that's all that I really care about.
I'm sure I'll fully enjoy the VFX.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes. I've got a feeling the whole thing about her not having her actual power set is going to end up getting changed. I think they're going to have her using these cosmic-y bracelet things for the season, and then in a twist in the last episode, something's going to happen that like causes them to like mold to her or something, which then allows her actual body to change shape as a big cop out.
Nah, I think they're gonna stick with what they're doing.
We'll see, but maybe that's just me being like, "Oh, it's a cop out. I'm giving you the cop out. Take the cop out and run."
Nah, I think
We've
they'll
also
stick.
had. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say I think they'll stick with it.
Maybe we'll see. The first plot information for the very I don't know what to make of this product. Madam Web film has
It's
been
Sony.
released. The film will be an origin story of the clairvoyant Madam Web, whose psychic abilities allow her to see within the spider world.
Why do I get a feeling Sony's gonna try and fuck with the multiverse?
So I think I'm taking my glass on very serious. I think the only way I can put this is Sony, stop fucking around. Either properly try and make good films, or sell the rights back to Disney. They have a fuck ton of money. Let them have the rights to the spider characters. Take your money, run a fucking way. Stop making us angry at you. Morbius is more popular as a meme film than as an actual film. You should be embarrassed. That's all I have to say on the subject.
That would have been great, Connor, if they could hear you through their piles of money that they're hiding behind.
But they only get money from the films that Marvel helped them make.
Well,
you know what? When you make the deal with Disney, make it so that you're still allowed to make the animated films, because you're good at that, because you know not to fuck with them.
That's because they give it to an animation studio. Going off the fact that her psychic ability is allowed to see into the spider, it's just like, this is gonna be them. I feel like it's one of those, right? They have the idea board or whatever of like how they want to still be using the Spider-Man rights, and they're like, oh, Disney's got the multiverse going now, so this like opens the door for us to do some things with this, and we can like join in. Oh, we should do Madam Web because she can like see it, and like it's all set up now, so we can just kind of leech off the fact that the multiverse is there. And what they don't realize is probably going to happen is if they fuck it up, Disney's going to go, oh no, there's an incursion. Oh no, Madam Web's dead. What a shame. Wiped off the face of the MCU.
It's just, do you know what it feels like with the Madam Web and the El Muerto films? It feels like they're sitting there in a boardroom going, oh, let's make a film for like real hardcore comic fans who are going to know these obscure characters and who are going to respect us for telling their story. And then they take that idea, which is fine, and then they give it to a generic production that made films that were mediocre in the mid-2000s, let alone 2022. And they go, yeah. And then they just make a regurgitated pile of crap.
It's just like, the thing that I don't get is, even like beforehand, okay, I kind of got the fact that Sony and Disney had this kind of like butted heads, didn't want to help each other out. They have made so much money off the Spider-Man films with MCU and Disney. It's like, why not at this point? You have these, you clearly have these boardroom like idea meetings, and it's like, okay, what characters could we maybe turn into a film? Okay, Madam Web's a really cool one. This could actually fit into work with the MCU. Why don't we take this to Disney and work with Disney on making a Madam Web film? Then we both make money, and they get to make use of this cool character that can like play into the multiverse thing. But instead, they're like, oh no, we're good enough to do it on our own. We can stand on our own 2 feet, and then they fuck it up.
Yeah.
It's like, just like bite your tongue and just work with Disney. And honestly, everyone, it's a win-win for everyone. But it's got to be like an ego thing at this point with the Sony execs.
100%.
Like, that Sony thinks they can do it without Disney's, or they want to prove they can do it without Disney's help, but they keep.
It's an ego thing or a greed thing.
I don't even think it's a greed thing. Because like they make plenty of money off the films with Disney. It's not like,
but but maybe that's what they're thinking. They're like, oh, let's make the money that we make on the Disney films, but keep it all for ourselves.
Yeah, but they don't. And it like this is the thing. It's like if this was the first time they were doing this, like okay, but like it's happened a few times now. Like you'd think by this point that they would kind of realize and just bite their own tongue and take it and just be like, okay, let's just work with Disney. But
But nope, heaven forbid.
yeah, we've said it before.
Anyway,
Like the dream is that Spider-Man goes back to Disney and we might get some decent stuff out of it. But for now, I guess we just have to grimace and bear what Sony produces.
I
And
mean, you
hope.
say that we still haven't watched Morbius.
Well, yeah, I probably won't unless it rocks up on a streaming website.
Unless I get paralysed and it's on my TV and I literally can't be asked to crawl to turn it off, I'm not going to watch it. But on
Yeah.
brighter news, so a lot of people complain about the She-Hulk trailer. I didn't mind it too much. I do understand some of the complaints, but for the most part, for a trailer, it was fine.
Yeah.
On Disney Plus, the trailer has been replaced with the exact same trailer, but with just better CGI on it.
Okay. I saw this note like in the our note or whatever that you put in, and I went and looked to try and when you first put that, I was like, oh, there's a new trailer, like a second trailer was out. And I was like, oh, there's no trailer. And then I Googled like She-Hulk better CGI and I've discovered what people were on about. So there's two theories I have, one stronger than the other. One is like everyone is saying that they've done better CGI, which is from someone who kind of does understand how it works. If that's the case, it's just a trailer that has got another pass has been finished, so they've added it onto the trailer.
Yep.
And it shows that like it's just unfinished. The other one, which I did see someone else had thought the same of this in comments. The trailer we got is on YouTube. YouTube is known for compressing the shit out of videos. When you actually put them side by side, what I actually think has happened is when they've put the trailer on YouTube, YouTube's compressed it so badly that it's smoothed all the detail on the CGI. And when you put it side by side, you can see how like the skin colors are, it's not just one, like you can see as if someone's got a blend brush and just like, and then like the details on the lips and stuff is very like lost. So I genuinely think
with that, but I'm pretty sure people compared the Disney Plus trailer from yesterday to today's one, and they looked different. I'm not saying that the YouTube compression didn't make it look even worse, but I do think it is a new, upgraded version of the trailer anyway.
It could be. I think
YouTube might be why people even noticed how much difference there is.
Yeah, and I think YouTube's also why it made it look worse. I think something else is
100%.
Disney Plus, I can guarantee will be up. They'll upload everything in 4K, and it probably has a better scaling, like, system to scale down than YouTube does.
Also, got to remember a lot of the people that were complaining were quote tweeting the Twitter video.
Yeah, which is even
a billion times worse than YouTube.
Exactly. So I actually. They might have updated the CGI and it's a new pass, but I actually genuinely think it's more just a compression issue. And unfortunately, because of the nature of it, the like green skin and whatnot, like it just didn't compress well, and it just like muddied it.
It is a TV show, not film, so the budget for CGI is going to be lower.
But
you've also got to remember, no amount of CGI is ever going to make a very muscular, 7 foot tall woman
look realistic,
look natural and real.
Yeah, like even the Hulk in some of the last, like he looked amazing, but you still like this is just a big green man that doesn't exist.
Yeah, cool. Him and Thanos fighting in Infinity War is obviously CGI.
Yeah.
But it's okay and good enough that you sit there and you accept it and you don't really question it too much. Like I said, if while I'm watching a video in motion, I'm very aware that it's CGI, then I might have an issue. But if it's good enough that I can just watch it and focus on what's actually happening, I'm fine.
I think everyone that's complained about the CGI is going to eat their words when the show comes out. Because
Sorry, you're giving people too much respect. They will just double down, even though they have no reason to.
Oh yeah, I know, but like they're all going to be sat there going, or they're all going to realize, oh wait, it wasn't the finished CGI, and then they'll go, why does Disney put out trailers with unfinished CGI? Like, just wait until it's done. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But I'm maybe it's because I have a better, like a good enough understanding of how VFX and like the time and it takes to do 3D work, and that it's often done in multiple passes. Like I just saw, like, oh, this, yeah, it's just.
Here's the thing people need to
done.
remember while they're sitting there and shitting all over Disney relentlessly for the CGI. That is the only Oscar that Marvel regularly gets nominated for. Special effects and VFX, alongside music.
It's all like wetter
Clearly
and
they're doing
everything.
something right.
It's because they've got the best VFX studios that work under them.
Do you know what I mean? Yes, you might have moments where you go, oh, that's a little bit wonky. But any film that has to use that much CGI as you inherently do with superhero films, especially the ones we've had in the last year or so where a lot of it was done during the pandemic, so they had to rely on it even heavier, which needs to be taken into account. For the most part, it's unfucking noticeable. Grow the fuck up.
Look at Moon Knight. There was so much VFX in that, especially the final episode.
Mm-hmm.
Compare that to the CW shows and their VFX, and then you'll have a shock at what actual TV show VFX should be looking like and how above the mark Disney is with theirs.
Do you know what it is? You get stuff like Thanos in Endgame, where they spent literal years working on one or two shots, and they compare it to one of Disney's lowest money TV shows trailer, and they're like, look how far we fall. It's like, bro, they're not comparable.
Yeah, they're
just not.
People don't understand that one studio, like one entire VFX studio, will have worked on one shot of Thanos in Endgame. And you've probably got one entire VFX studio is working on the entirety of She-Hulk.
Exactly.
So people just have this, because it's Disney and because it's MCU, they now have this unrealistic expectation that the shows are going to look visually as good as the films.
Do you know what I think has particularly made the last couple of projects even worse? Fucking fanboys of the Batman film nutting religiously over the fact that it was like 90% practical effects.
Yes, but
they're using that and they're like, oh, but look, they did all practical. It's like, yeah, they didn't have fucking aliens.
Do you want to know something though? The Batman film wouldn't have been able to be done so much practically if it wasn't for Mandalorian and the visual stage, because Batman stole that and used it to make, like, so much more of Batman would have been done on a green screen and probably would have looked worse if it wasn't for the fact that Mandalorian came up with that visual stage. I forget what it's actually called, the virtual stage.
Mm-hmm.
So
anyway, I'm excited. CGI in the new trailer looks a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, woohoo! Superheroes. Superhero Showdown.
Yes.
Abomination versus the Green Goblin.
Standard rules apply. I was going to say, you're doing your rules.
Yeah, standard rules apply. Neutral environment. Nothing they don't normally have on them. They are bloodlusted.
Mm-hmm.
Green Goblin is terrifying.
Agreed.
However, Abomination goes toe-to-toe with the Hulk on the regular.
Mm-hmm.
Green Goblin, a lot of why he's so terrifying comes from putting people in danger that the hero cares about.
Mm-hmm.
That can't happen in this situation.
Nope.
While I think Green Goblin manages to run and stay alive for a little while by dodging him, eventually he's gonna get grabbed and literally ripped in half.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I think there is definitely a situation where the Green Goblin wins. But this is not that situation. In essentially like a no holds barred. There's nothing for you to manipulate and work with the situation.
Yeah, like maybe there's a world where Green Goblin has, because obviously he's very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Like he can come up with some tech that like affects Abomination, but in his general equipment, I don't feel like his little green goblin grenades are gonna do that much damage.
Pumpkin bombs.
Yeah, his little pumpkin bombs.
Man called them little green goblin grenades.
Well, they are to Abomination, so little green goblins balls. They aren't really gonna do anything to Abomination. Yeah. Maybe his glider probably could do the most damage by just full flying into him with it.
Yeah, I mean, man's used to getting a pounding from the Hulk.
But yeah, like, exactly. He's gone toe to toe with the Hulk. I don't think there's realistically any way.
Yeah, not in the situation we're doing
no.
on bracket. No, like I said, Green Goblin might be able to circle him for a little while, but eventually, like has been the case for a lot of early round fights of durability and who can take the most punishment, eventually Abomination is going to get a hold of him, and once he does, it's game over. He'll crush him with a hand, he'll rip him in half. It's done. Which does suck. And I promise this bracket will get a little bit better in a couple of weeks when we're into like the later stages. But this is the nature of seeding. We said it's going to be a few stomp matches in these early rounds just because of the nature of it. And Abomination has too much strength and too much durability to lose in this situation.
Yeah, it's the second round will be where things get really interesting.
Exactly.
But yeah, Abomination for the win.
Yeah,
he's had that Wong training.
Magical Abomination. Oh,
imagine Abomination with a sling ring.
Yeah, imagine how big that sling ring would need to be, though.
It's like a huge fucking.
Accidentally cuts Earth in half. I think that's about it from us this week.
I think so.
Well, next week's going to be next Thursday. Next Thursday is the 2nd. So that'll be the day before the boys. And that will also be the last episode before the first episode of Ms. Marvel.
Okay.
So next week will probably be pretty heavy on Ms. Marvel and our final thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll mention Obi-Wan, but and Stranger Things.
If someone's got this far, they clearly care about the podcast a great deal.
Yes.
So I'm just going to say, we've had a pretty good week on YouTube.
We have.
We got recommended alongside the Thor and Love and Thunder trailer. 2 of our videos did actually.
Neither of them were Thor related though, were they?
No, they weren't. It just
which is the funny thing.
The YouTube algorithm is very well aware at this point that we do superhero content.
Yeah.
And it's put them together, which is great news. It means YouTube knows what we're doing, where we're at, and hopefully we're finding the people who would want to watch, which is great news. And it's quite a big motivator for me to finally see stuff going in the right direction. YouTube recognizing the content we do as we're coming into what's going to be a very busy summer.
Yeah.
There is a opportunity here if the stars align for us to have a very exciting summer.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're already here, you might want to punch your ticket now, because who knows, it may in 6 weeks' time you might have to be fighting for your life saying you were a day one. So comment down below and make sure everyone knows that you're an OG. Just in case.
Yeah, and come back in 6 months now. I watched this episode 6 months ago and it still hits the same. Like on music videos when you go back.
Yeah. It's hilarious when I get like recommended a video from like 4 years ago and I click on it, I'm like, and I scroll down, I'm like, oh, this is clearly back in everyone's recommended tab, because there's comments here from like 3 days ago going, this popped up in my recommended, still a banger.
Well, it's like a song will be in like a TV show or something, and then everyone's like, oh, 2021 and I'm still listening to this song, and it's 2022.
I've been rocking the Spotify top hits of 2012 playlist.
Fucking hell.
Bro, 2012 was a year for music.
How old was I? 10 years ago.
Yeah.
17. I'll be almost 17.
You were 17.
Yeah. So I was in
I
college.
was in my second year of high school.
I was in college losing my mind, getting ready to just drop out. That's the mental state that I was in at 17. I was having an absolute mare in college.
Anyway, that's it from us.
Yes.
Have a lovely weekend. Lots of superhero stuff coming up, so get excited. Drop a like, subscribe, comment, do all the good
All the
shit
good,
so that
yeah.
everyone knows you're an OG, because we're gonna have a million subs.
Be one of that
next week.
20% that are subscribed.
Exactly. Exactly. Anyway, catch you later.
See you next week.